What is going on, you guys? Welcome to Making the Case for Your Lawyer Dreams. I'm your host, of course, the one and only Anthony Denmark, where our purpose is to help you guys get the tools, the gems, and the resources you need to take the next step in your lawyer journey. And, of course, I'm holding it down over here in St. Louis. It's not the place where I want to be, not at all, but it's currently the place where God has me. So, again, thank you guys for joining us. We've been very fortunate on our IG Live series, Making the Case, to be able to have guests come to you guys to share their story, to provide their blueprint, people who look like you, doing what you want to do. And we've been having an amazing array of guests to share their stories, and we have another amazing guest, two guests, coming on that's going to share their story as well. I want you guys to make sure that you lock in. In addition to that, let us know where you're viewing our session from. Again, I'm holding it down in St. Louis, Missouri. It's not the place that I want to be, but it's the place where God has me. So where are you viewing our show from? As our show fills up, I want you guys also to utilize this as a space for you to get answers that you need. Listen, fam, our guests are literally doing what you want to do. Ask them questions. Fill our chat box up with questions because we want to make sure that no matter where you are in your journey, that could be the LSAT, that could be PreLaw, that could be prepping for the bar, that be finishing up finals. We want to make sure that you come away from this session fed with a clear vision in regards to what you're going to do next. I know right now in this cycle, a lot of people feeling hella nervous. They're trying to figure out how to move and what to do. We hear that, of course, applications are up by 35%. In addition to that, you may find yourself trying to figure out, well, what should I do if I haven't heard back from schools? What should I do if I did not do well on the LSAT? I want you guys to make sure that you utilize this as a space for you to get your questions answered as well. We got Chicago in the house. What's going on, Tatum? What's going on, Attorney Mike? What's going on, Keeping Up with McKee? What's going on, CJ Glenn? What's going on, Attorney Andrew Wilkerson? And so as our room fills up, I want my two guests to go ahead and send an invite so that way we can have you guys join. And so we guys can utilize this as a space for you to be able to get your questions answered. One of the things I want you guys to also realize is that there's more than one way to get into law school. We recently made a post where one of our students, her pathway to getting into law school is by going through a conditional admissions program, where after you complete the conditional admissions program, you get automatic admission into the law school. I want you guys to understand that there's more than one way to get in, one. Two, I also want you guys to be able to understand that there are 197 law schools. And how many do you need to get into law school? Just one. So if, in fact, you may have not gotten into law school yet, understand that there's still time for you guys to pivot. I know this week we've gotten like maybe 8 more students into law schools. But out of those 8 who got into law school, 80% of them were people who had gotten rejected first. And so what did they do? They went back under the hood, made some changes, and found some more law schools. We recently, of course, just made a post where we listed over 100 law schools that are still accepting applications, and we're already in May. So understand this, fam, if things have gone radio silent when it comes to law schools, and if, in fact, you've been getting those rejection letters, please don't make the mistake that I made back in forever ago when I got rejected from a whole bunch of schools, and I just sat there and twiddled my thumb and hoped that everything was going to work out. And you know what, fam? It did not. So if you've gotten more than one rejection, look at the prospects of you being able to make some changes to your application. Because what one rejection means, it does not mean that you're not qualified to become a lawyer. It does not mean you're not capable. It just means that the argument that you made, there was things that were missing. And there was things that were missing which prevented law schools from pulling the trigger and saying yes to you. So understand that first, and then also utilize this as an opportunity to pivot and make changes, okay? You do not have to all of a sudden wait all the way to the next cycle. You can go ahead and make changes now. You already got your LORs on deck. All you got to do is make changes to your essays and find some more schools. So it is not over. This week, we've showed several law students who were not accepted initially, but because they pivoted, they're going to be starting law school this fall. And so I want that opportunity also available to you. But I can say it, I can pray for it, but it takes you to be able to do it. All right. And so I want my two guests from the Not Guilty Boys, if they could go ahead and send me an invite so I can have them join, a video invite so I can have them join the chat. I'm going to see if I can do it on my own. Let's see here. Where we go? Where we at? Now we got Mike. Where we at? An attorney. Where we at? Attorney. Can I spell? There we go. There we go. Andrew Wilkerson. Awesome. And so we went ahead and sent that invite out. And so I want you guys to be able to understand that oftentimes the challenges that we're going through on this journey, I want you to understand that's just part of the growth process. If you're struggling with the LSAT, you're on track with what you're supposed to be struggling with. Why? Because that means that you're starting the process of learning and updating your system to become ready for the next step. If you're struggling with getting into law school, that's fine. Why? Because that means you're in the process of making changes to how you present yourself, how you write, how you network in order to prepare yourself for the next step to go to law school. So every struggle that you're actually encountering, you guys, is actually an opportunity for you to evolve and be ready for the next step. So understand that it has nothing to do with your qualifications. It has to do with the fact that you're preparing for the next step in your journey. And every step in your journey requires growth. And you know what? All you have to do is be able to be open to that and realize that this is going to be the next step for you to be able to evolve into the next level. And that same thing that you're struggling with, months later, years later, it's going to be a molehill of something that you'll talk about how that was a process that led to your growth. I tried to add you guys to join the chat. I'm going to try again because in life, you know what, fam? If at first you don't succeed, you definitely go ahead and try again. Just go ahead and try it one more time because I definitely want to make sure that you guys get these guys on to hear their story. Attorney Mike. That's also Attorney Wilkerson. So I just sent that invite out to them again. But nevertheless, what I want you guys to be able to understand in this journey is that the challenges. What's going on, King? How we doing?
Oh, it's all good, brother. How you doing?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm trying to get your other guy on in a second. I just sent him an invite.
Yeah, we were trying to do it on our computers, man, and it wasn't working. So he probably still trying to work that out. I just went ahead and got on my phone.
Nevertheless, I think we're gonna get him on in a second. But nevertheless, while we wait for our other brother to join us, I definitely want to take an opportunity to give you the floor to introduce yourself, and then we wait for our other king to come on, and so we can go ahead and keep the party going.
How you guys doing? My name is Attorney Andrew Wilkerson. I am a criminal defense lawyer. I've been also practicing some personal injury as well, dibbling in that for about the last 11 years.
Wow.
Um, I went to the Thurgood Marshall School of Law at TSU, Texas Southern. Um, Graduated in 2.5 years. Took the bar in the February of my last semester. So when I walked across the stage, I was actually a lawyer.
Wow.
Proud to say that. And me and Mike right now, we have our own solo firms. I'm Andrew, the law office of Andrew Wilkerson. He has the Campbell firm, but we also have Wilkerson and Campbell together, where we do nothing but try murder cases. And right now, we are 15-0 in murders right now, man.
And I
Yeah.
think the thing that's so amazing about that, in addition to being 15-0, what that means is the impact that you've not only had on that one particular individual, but on that family and that community overall. And I think that's something I definitely give you guys flowers for. I know Attorney Mike, I just sent it. I'll send it again if it didn't go through. But nevertheless, I think what's also amazing is we got 3 HBCU grads here. And I think that's awesome, something that's phenomenal. And I love what Texas Southern is doing in regards to continuing its amazing reputation of producing not only just lawyers, but lawyers who are hanging their own shingles and doing their own damn thing
Yes, sir.
and being their own boss, which I think is oftentimes is something phenomenal. I think oftentimes when we initially get into the legal practice, or even in the once we start our legal journey, it's initially about going to work for somebody else. And I
Yeah,
love how I've just seen the mindset of so many other people who've graduated from Texas Southern. It goes, nah, fam, I got to do my own. I can
for
work for
sure.
somebody for a bit, but it's about getting my own.
Most
But
definitely.
one of the things that we're going to try again for attorney Mike. But one of the things I also sent a live video. Okay. One of the things that I want to also, I sent another invite to him again. One thing I want to first start off with, it's going to sound a little old school, but I want you to ride with it, is I want you to tell me, when was the first time that you fell in love with law?
Man, it's kind of
Brown sugar
cheesy,
live.
man. I along with getting into my own set of trouble growing up, I used to watch Law and Order with my mom, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, it's cheesy as hell, but that's what it was every Tuesday. And I took a liking to it. I was always told I could argue. I always felt the need to defend others, defend myself. So yeah, man, it was. And after playing a little bit of basketball in college, I knew that I wasn't going to the league. So I went ahead and started my, keying my focus to law school, man. Yeah.
And thank you again, King. Attorney Mike, go ahead. I want to give you the floor. Thank you for, I know we had tech was still trying to tech us out, but we still going raining through.
Man,
But I
thank you
want to
for
give you the floor.
bearing with me. How are you?
But I wanted to give you the floor to go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody out there.
Yes, sir. I'm attorney Michael Campbell Jr., 15-year practicing criminal defense lawyer in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Graduated from Thurgood Marshall School of Law back in 2010. And Thurgood prepared me for this career. I have nothing but great things to say about Thurgood's. If any of you guys are looking to go to law school, I definitely recommend you giving Thurgood a good look. One of the most diverse
Yeah.
law schools that you'll ever attend. And Thurgood is, it's just was my crutch to becoming a great lawyer. And I appreciate everything Thurgood did for me.
And just to piggyback on that, I think one thing that's amazing for you guys when you're looking for schools, because there's 197 of them, what you're also looking for is a strong alumni network. And of
Mhm.
course, I'm being biased as hell, but Texas Southern's alumni network, it runs deep.
Sure.
And in addition to that, you want to be able to have a place where you have a community of lawyers who want to look out for you, support you. And I can honestly tell you that every lawyer that I've met for Thurgood Marshall School of Law has been nothing short of amazing, friendly, welcoming, and opening themselves up to continue to build that pipeline of lawyers. So when you're looking for schools, that is what you're looking for. And these two kings are great examples of it. But I asked Attorney Wilkerson about when he fell in love with law. And I want to go ahead and ask you the same question. Got a little brown sugar vibes to
Right, right. I knew at an early age I wanted to be an attorney. Man, it was a couple of movies I watched that I love. A Time to Kill. Matthew McConaughey is one of the best. He gave one of the best closing arguments that I ever heard, and that really motivated me to. I was one that I always could argue my point growing up. I was one that I always liked to debate. With my friends or my parents or whoever would get into that debate with me. But Matthew McConaughey in The Time to Kill,
it.
My Cousin Vinny, another great movie, believe it or not, is what motivated me to, want to, pursue this field. Um, I knew at an early age, and in high school, I knew that I wanted to be an attorney. So it was never any doubt that this was the career I wanted to do. I knew at an early age that I wanted to be a criminal defense lawyer. So, God has been good to me. He's helped me pave this way. And, I've been motivated this entire time to do what I love to do, and that's be a criminal defense lawyer.
I love it, man. Now, of course, people see y'all, and make sure you guys follow their Instagram, their podcast, The Not Guilty Boys. They be dropping some trends. And I don't know if you guys been living under a rock, but it's about to be some serious cases coming down the pipeline this summer.
Oh yeah.
And you guys want to make sure that you stay locked in to get these gems, okay? But
Absolutely.
one of the things I think that's oftentimes amazing is people's when we first start our lawyer journey, before that, oftentimes things weren't as challenging. But then all of a sudden you start. And I want you, Mr. Wilkerson, go ahead and tell me first how it was for you when you realized, oh, damn, I'm going to have to pivot and make some changes in order to take the next step in my journey. Because I think for some people out there, that's where they're at right now. And I think a lot of times people think, oh, we watch Legally Blonde. Because that's not a show that people reference now. Legally Blonde. They're like, well, shoot, she had it easy. So I'm having it hard. So maybe I should do something else.
Well, I went to Prairie View A&M for undergrad as well as TSU. While I was at PV when I graduated, I think I had like a 3.75 GPA or something like that. Now, when I ended up getting to law school, you got to understand, and I'm sure you know this, first year of law school, they teach you how to think like a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
So not only are you juggling all these classes, all this law, you got 7, 8 classes, you're reading 50 pages a night for each class. You know, I just had to kind of kick it in gear, man. And I think I even tell Mike this, my sports background, if you want to, people shoot 1,000 shots a day just to shoot 15 shots in the game.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So one thing that taught me is that you put in hard work and you get results. So I found me a little niche in the library, man, in the basement, little corner where couldn't nobody mess with me. Wasn't even phone service down there.
Oh, that's great.
And just got it in, man. And well, every law school doesn't have a curve out, but see, Thurgood, you can curve out the first year.
Okay.
So it ain't no play. Like you gotta buckle down or you might not be there the next semester. So I just, fear of failure, man,
Yeah.
just had me locked in, man. And I think that I was kind of a little bit better off than most because I knew I wanted to do criminal law. And I knew I wanted to be a trial attorney. So, sometimes, people get there and they do their different electives and they find out later what they want to do. But, one advantage that I had is that I knew what I wanted to do and what I wanted to be when I was there. So I kind of keyed in on everything that can kind of, give me that skill set.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it was hard as hell at first, man. In that second year, you have a lot more work, but now you know how to manage your time, right? So it's a little easier. In the third year, you're just trying to get the hell up out of there, So yeah, but that first year is a doozy, man. But you just gotta. It's nothing special about us, You just put in the hard work, and you'll come out on top.
Absolutely. And Mike, I want to ask you this question. What was the biggest change that you had to make once you got to law school? Because one thing I tell people oftentimes is, like, for example, with our phones, they update all the
Right.
time. They update without us knowing. Oftentimes for us, we have to experience a hardship before we make changes in order to take the next step.
Yeah, man. Speaking of hardship, I had a pretty rough time. I mean, I was very smart in school. I graduated high school, valedictorian. Shout out ODY High School. I went to TSU, Texas Southern, graduated in a 4-year degree in 3 years. Uh, and at the end of my senior year, I got into a little trouble with my fraternity.
Okay.
Okay, and they actually expelled me from school. Okay, and I was able to through that process learn how to be a lawyer because I had to do my
Yeah.
own
Yeah.
investigation. I had to do my own drafting of documents to appeal this decision by the school, and it just made me grow up. And I was able to get back into school a semester later. And when I got back in school, I never turned back. I knew I was there to, complete my goal. Had a little, hard time in 2008, but by 2010, I was walking, you know, getting my JD. So I would encourage people to, keep going. You know what your dreams are. You know what's in front of you. Regardless of what happens in life, just continue to strive, have optimism, and be dedicated to your goals, man. That's what I always encourage people to do. Just know what you want in life and go for it.
Is you guys just catch those bars, bro. I want you guys to be able to understand. A lot of times, for so many of us, we have created this image of perfection of what you have to do in order to ascend in your lawyer journey. But the thing is, oftentimes, you guys, a lot of the hardships that we go through are character moments for us to be able to test ourselves and say, so do you really want this? I mean,
Right.
do you really, really want it? Because I think the thing that's crazy, Mike, is like literally your first case as a lawyer, you had to represent yourself. Like
Right.
you really
I did.
had to, like, okay,
I
I
did.
had to defend myself
And
first
my
to make sure
line
it didn't
brothers,
happen.
they know, they say, boy, you cold when that hearing was over with. They was telling me how cold I was.
But I think the amazing thing is just like oftentimes throughout your journey, wherever you are in your journey, if you're retaking the bar exam, if you're reapplying to law school, if you're trying to find a job after graduating, you're getting that test asking, so what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Because I swear it seems like
Hmm.
on the journey oftentimes, you guys, ain't nobody gifting you nothing, man. You just, I mean, I saw that real said, hustles don't stop. We keep going.
Oh yeah.
We keep
Hmm.
like
Oh
that's
yeah.
what lawyers have to
Oh
do,
yeah.
no matter where you are in your journey.
Oh
But
yeah.
one thing I also want to ask you guys about, Mike. So tell me a little bit about the value of networking,
Mm.
because I was talking to a student earlier, and he kind of scared to get out there to network. And I'm like, fam, if you scared to network, man, this you got to get your mouthpiece out there, otherwise it ain't gonna work.
Yeah. I was told at an early age that lawyers have a gift of gab, so you have to get out there and use your gift, and that's going to be the ability to talk, the ability to persuade people, the ability to engage and interact with people to get them to understand you. So, being able to network and meet new people, especially people in a field that you're looking to join in the field that you're interested in, you definitely want to tap in and get connected with some great lawyers in that particular industry, whether it's civil lawyers or criminal lawyers or bankruptcy lawyers, whatever you have the desire to do. You want to get connected with the people who's already been successful in that path. And that's a good way to model, a history repeats itself. So if you connect with the right people, they will have the model for you to be able to become a successful attorney.
Great question. And again, you guys, I am joined by Attorney Wilkerson, Attorney Mike, the Not Guilty Boys, holding it down, 15-0. Make sure you follow them. So, Attorney Wilkerson, I want to ask you this. I want to ask you about, I want you to tell me how it was when you got the paper that you passed the bar. Where were you? And how, well, I love hearing these stories.
I know exactly where I was. I was taking my civil procedure. I was taking my civil procedure, the one you take in your third year. I was taking my final, man. And when I tell you, and just real quick, Mike talked about networking with people that are doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
But here's the deal: you should also network within your law school. Don't be scared to go to the 2Ls. Hey, do you got a syllabus for Professor Otero, one of my favorite professors, Judge Walker? Do you got a syllabus? What does she like, man? Does she tell you the answers on the test in your notes? Does she, you can ask people and you can kind of get a game plan on whatever section you in, the professors and what they look for, and that can help your success. I knew many people that wanted to do it by themselves, and I ain't seen them the second
So,
semester. So don't be out here trying to do it yourself just to say you did it yourself. You kind of just want to pass that finish line and do whatever you need to do. Now, um, I took the February bar my 3L year. So mind you, I'm still going to school, right? And I had to study for the bar. I believe Judge Walker's study schedule had us studying 8 to 12 hours a day. All
wow.
right. On top of going to the prep course. Okay. So, we put that work in, man, and we checked every box. But let me tell you, man, I think it might have been, and look, don't do this. I'm just telling you what I did. It might have been 60 questions on that test. If I was on 30, my friend Sean Darvishi, who is the top DWI lawyer right now in Harris County, Texas, He came to me, said, "Man, have you seen the list?" I was like, "No." He showed me my name. I put the letter B on every other answer and walked up out of class. I didn't. I was ready to go. I'm just telling the truth. I'm not telling you to do that. But and I passed the test. I still passed the test. So that first 30 I did must have been damn good. But I just knew it was a big deal for them to be able to say Juris Doctor, man, whenever they said my name. It was a big deal for me. I wanted to be able to get out, start my firm, and hit the ground running. And by God, thank you, Lord. He allowed me to do that. So as soon as I got the news, man, I got up out of there and went and got me something to eat and had me a little drink and called my mama, and that's what I did. So I was literally sitting in class when I found out that I passed the bar, man. Yeah, appreciate you, Sean. Appreciate
That's awesome. That's my story, fam.
Man, I'll never forget, man. I was working at the time, so I had already graduated. I had moved back. I moved from Houston back to the Dallas area, staying at home with my mom's, completely broke, completely broke. And I'll never forget one of my best friends in law school. Shout out DC. He called me first, okay, and he said, "Yo, congratulations, counselor." And from there, I just stood up. My mom was in the other room. I saw her screaming her name, calling in there with me. We did a little praise dance. We shouted, we cried, we laughed, we hugged each other. We just celebrated. It was just, I'm one of the first ones ever in my family, like a first generation college graduate, law school graduate. So this was bigger to me. I did this for my cousins, my little cousins, for my nieces and nephews to see that we have a chance to be who we want to be in this life if you put in the hard work, like my boy Drew say. If you dedicated and you put in that hard work, I wanted to show my people that we could be JDs, we could be doctors, we could be astronauts, we could be presidents, we could be whatever we want to be in this world if you put your mind to it. But let me go back to how I passed that bar. Now, again, I was broke in law school. So, and Kaplan courses coming up, it was about $5,000. I was gonna have to take out a loan. But we had like bar prep classes, bar prep presentations, and I would show up to those things. So when you're in law school, show up to things. Not only is there good food there for you, law students, but there's also good information. And just by chance that presentation that I showed up, they was giving away bar prep classes,
Oh,
Kaplan classes, a value of $5,000. And guess who name they pulled out the hat? God is so good because I needed that. And I knew that when God gifted that class to me for free, I wanted that I couldn't mess up that opportunity.
squander it.
I had to put in the work and I made sure I showed up to every class. I made sure that I was doing everything that Kaplan told me to do. And that had me prepare for that 3-day test. It's a 3-day test, in Texas, and,
Mm.
to 5 every day. So it's an endurance test. So while you're studying for the bar, you're preparing yourself for the endurance of taking that test, not the physical endurance, because it is a physical test as well to sit in that chair in that cold room for hours. But it's also a mental test. I've seen people get up and walk out of the
yeah.
bar.
Mm-hmm.
And, I would encourage those people. I didn't know any of those people, but I would definitely encourage them to get back at it. So I know some people, some good attorneys who didn't pass the bar on their first chance. I passed it the first time because I couldn't mess up the opportunity. But I encourage you that if you do not pass the bar the first time, to just go back to the drawing board the next day and study 2 or 3 times harder than you did the first time, and you'll get where you need to go.
And let me tell you something. Become an expert test taker. Let me tell you what I did. Law students that are currently in law school, people taking the LSAT, you got your little prep book, right? It seems hard, it seems tricky. They can only ask you the same question a certain amount of ways. After a while, if you, what I did, I ain't gonna lie, I did every question. I just did every question just to be safe because I was scared if one question I ain't do, that'd be the one that get me, right? So the more practice you do, you'll start recognizing the
Yep.
tricks and the red herrings and the multiple choice answer that you should just mark out because they ain't got nothing to do with it. You'll start seeing it. You know, they can only ask you certain questions just so many ways. So just give y'all some encouragement in taking your test.
And I think the thing that's amazing about this experience is what you guys have just witnessed, you guys out there watching this, is that you've been able to see them share their testimony of their growth and their transformation. And I want you guys to be able to understand out there is what they're telling you is that you can do it too, man. Is it gonna hurt? Hell yeah. Will there be nights where you cry? Will there be nights where you doubt yourself? Yeah, but literally, I'll never forget my mentor said, literally, you cannot lose if you don't quit. And
Yeah.
I remember those tough times going through my lawyer journey as well, that you cannot lose when you don't quit. So I want to ask this question too, right? So now we licensed, right? What was when was the trigger? We'll start with you, Mike. When did you realize, okay, now I'm licensed. When did it realize the vision of what I'm going to do next? Because it seemed like you fight so long to
Hmm.
get here. Then it's
Right,
like, well, damn. All right. So
right.
what's up?
Right. And coming out of law school, I didn't know. I knew I wanted to practice law, but I didn't have a plan. So I did what everybody else would do. I sent my resume out to all of the big firms. I barely got an interview. I sent my resume out to some smaller firms, and I got a couple of interviews, and I ended up getting a job. And that attorney didn't do right by me. I'll be the first to say that she really got over on a fresh law schools, a fresh lawyer out of law school. So when you're fresh out of law school, because I think Drew has a similar story, be careful of who is mentoring you, what type of attorneys you're around, because some attorneys will purposely treat you and teach you the wrong way. Okay, so after that experience, I decided to hang my own shingle. I just prayed about it. I'm from this area. I know a lot of people here. I have a big network, personal network here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So I said, I'm going to hang my shingle and put it out there that I'm a practicing attorney. And I've been having my own law firm for 13 years now. And after about 6 years of practicing, I went completely criminal law. Some people come out of law school and try to do it all.
Buffet.
Don't don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. Find your niche in what particular area of law that you're interested in and make that your specialty, because you're better if you're a better lawyer if you are focused in one area than being stretched out thin over multiple areas. So I definitely encourage you to specialize as an attorney. But after 6 years, me and Andrew met and we started the Wilkinson and Campbell Law Firm partnership. Now we are two of the top criminal defense practicing lawyers here in Dallas Fort Worth. Currently 15-0 in murder cases, capital murder cases. We just beat a case last week that I believe the jury deliberated for 45 minutes
Wow.
and came back with a not guilty. So yeah, man. Once I found my niche in criminal law and I met Andrew, we just took off from there.
All right. And let me know. Same question, fam.
Yeah, I mean, I interned, like I say, I knew I wanted to be on the defense, man. I kind of came up in a manner where I could never be a prosecutor, if you know what I mean. But so I knew I wanted to be on the defense side. I interned at a bail bond company and for a judge my 2L summer. Um, so I became very deeply ingrained in the bail bond business. I'm actually on my way to opening my own bail bond company in a month. Um, I just knew what I wanted to do, man. One thing that I haven't done that I had my dreams on is I'm a trial attorney, man. So what I would want to do, which I've told Mike, everybody can't try cases. These big civil law firms you see on TV, it would surprise you to know that they just have a lot of popularity, but when it comes down to trying cases, all of them can't try cases. I would like
That's
to
right.
try cases for lawyers that can't try cases. Give me your case file. Give me a percentage of that of whatever you get. Yeah, come on now, pay me what I weigh, and we'll come out on top. That's one of the aspirations I have. But I can't lie, man. Honest to God, I ain't worked a day in my life, man, since I passed the bar, man. I love what I do, and I know that's a blessing because everybody don't have that. But I just simply love what I do, man. So if I could continue trying these high profile cases, man, and I hope to find some law students that are hungry and determined and kind of got the same outlook as me, and I hope to teach them how to try cases so we can kind of build a firm and we can kind of help the lawyers of tomorrow be a little bit more tenacious, man, and a little bit more, get after it. But yeah, man, I just always knew what I wanted to do, man, and the way was paved, and I just kept putting one foot in front of the other, man. That's all I can say.
That's awesome. And so one of the things I love talking about is I oftentimes call it like that validation moment. When you're sitting there and you're like, damn, I did it. I'm doing what I said I wanted to do. Make
Hmm.
eyes. And I would love, Mike, tell me when did that moment come from you? Was it in the middle of a trial? What was it when a family member or a client hugs you? When did that moment come where it's just like, I'm doing it?
Yeah, it's definitely hearing the client responses after we get the results that they desire. It's the feedback and it's the love. It's the knowing that it's the gratification of knowing that you actually saved someone's life. I tell people all the time, we're brain surgeons, we're heart surgeons. When we're going to trial on a capital murder case and a person can lose their freedom and liberty for the rest of their lives, there's a lot at stake.
Yeah.
But to be able to see the elation and the tears of joy and the excitement over our clients' faces when that not guilty verdict comes out, that is what we do it for, because that is pure. That's justice is truth, and that's true justice, just actually at its finest. And it's a sweet thing. It's one of the sweetest things that you'll ever experience.
What about you, Mike? What about you, Andrew?
Yeah, I did a lot of mock trial in law school, man, and best oral advocate of the region, best oral advocate at TMSL. Got a little trophy on the wall, got my name in the rafters, man. And one thing my mock trial coach told me is, look, if you get through this class, because you have to take a course before you did it, if you get through this class, you'll be better than 20% of the lawyers that are already out there. I didn't believe him, right? But when I got out, I saw that that was true. And, a lot of these lawyers don't know how to try cases. And when I realized that all the work that I had put in law school is actually transcending me to another level as a young attorney, um, that was my moment, man. That's when I knew that it was through the roof. You know, all we had to do was just keep pushing.
I see some
So
people throwing your flowers. I see we got Trip Yachty said superheroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes suits and tattoos.
there you go. Appreciate it, man. Yeah,
And
yeah, for sure.
one thing I love about you guys' podcast and about your show, the Not Guilty Boys, make sure you guys go follow and also tune in, is you guys talk about current events. Because I think one thing that's kind of happening now is people only get things in clips about cases and law, or we don't even know the background of the people sharing the information, if in fact they are speaking from a position of knowledge. I want to know, how did you guys get the idea of starting Not Guilty Boys? And I swear, fam, I've been watching all of them.
Man, we've been talking about it for a while. We started Wilkinson and Campbell back in 2017, I believe. And the idea to do a podcast came up actually during COVID, when podcasts and everything else was popping off in this type of environment. But we actually, this year decided to put it into fruition and get it going, and it's been a hit ever since. We definitely like to tap into what's going on. We like to talk about fatherhood. We like to talk about our beliefs in Christ. We like to touch on, because we're not your typical lawyers. We're the type of dudes that you'll see at the bar. You enjoy you'll love to have a drink with it, just shoot the shit with, because we're just we're cool people like that, individuals like that. So we try to let some of our personality come out during the podcast and let our hair down a little bit, so people can get to see who we really are as individuals.
Because one of the
Yeah,
things
I think. Go ahead.
I watched your podcast, and I know that we in the news right now. We saw what happened over the weekend with Hinton and
Oh yeah,
hitting the police officer with his car. And I was like, man, I'm waiting to hear what the not guilty boy is going to say about that. And because then you mentioned, and it brought back in my mind again when you said a time to kill. I was like, oh
exactly,
God, this is like the same type of thing. And I wanted to know,
exactly.
I can't talk specifics about the case, but I definitely want to know what your reaction was to all those things that were happening. There's so many dynamics. You got a courtroom full of police officers for an arraignment, and it was just a spectacle. It was a spectacle again today.
Hey man, all I'll say is, after everything that we've been through, after this criminal justice system has basically been made to keep us oppressed, um, I really can't get mad at another man taking it into his own hands, man. I just can't. I got a son myself. I can't even imagine what I would do. But it's this system ain't for us, man. I mean, think about it. Donald Trump was going to sign an executive order for them to have full immunity,
Yes,
right? So really understand, like, there's people out there in the world that believe that law enforcement should be able to take the law into their own hands and not be held accountable for it, no matter how extreme it gets. So, I'm not on here preaching killing or none of that, man. But look, man, like at some point, you know, if the sheep tells the wolf, I ain't gonna let you kill me anymore. You see what I'm saying? I don't think that the sheep is the violent one, and I don't know if Malcolm X said that or Denzel Washington said that or if Denzel being Malcolm X said that. One of them said it. The sheep has the right to wake up one morning and just not be with none of that anymore. And I think that he just hit his tipping point. And, we love our children, man. Something like that happen, you don't know what you'll do, man. So, now, tell me this: did he get the one that got his son?
they actually haven't released that information yet.
Okay, because that's what I was saying. If that's what it was, look, man, I'm all for it. I'm sorry, Mike. You got your own, but if it wasn't, I think that a good enough message was sent. I'm glad that black man kept his head up in that courtroom.
Yes, that
I
definitely
damn sure am.
out there with the intent and purpose of intimidating him. It definitely did see that way. But Mike,
Yeah,
think about it.
Oh man, you definitely can see the divisiveness in that arraignment here. But shout out to Mr. Hidden for holding his head high and keeping his chest out. I mean, he seems like a frontline soldier, and I always, especially when it comes to race relations in this country, you know, a young black kid gets killed and no one busts an eye, but when a officer gets killed, it's the worst thing ever, to certain people. And they already have all of this immunity where you can't go after them civilly for the wrongs they do. I'm not writing anything Mr. Hinton did, but I hope he has good representation
Yeah,
because from a legal aspect, I think he may have a shot at, non-intentional heat of passion
manslaughter.
under under extreme, emotions that was driving him. He wasn't in his right mind because he's being driven by emotions. And that should be some mitigated arguments that his attorney can make to help lessen the blow for him. Now, I hope he can get a fair jury in that county, but
Mm.
from what I can see, and I'm not familiar, but for what I can see, you know, um, it looks like that may be another county where it's going to be predominantly Caucasian, and I just hope he can get a fair trial. If not, then his attorney may want to look at a motion to change venue.
right,
So
right.
because even though they may feel a certain way about him, he's still an American citizen, and he's still guaranteed by the Constitution to a fair trial.
Well, at least for the time being, we'll see how long that lasts in regards to the Constitution.
Right.
Uh, of course, I'm being very sarcastic there, you guys. Don't
Nah,
think
no, I got you. I
I
got
got
But
you.
my question of it, I was just like, the judge had already lost control of the courtroom. How you let all these people in? Not once, but during they had a hearing today. There's even more of them in there.
you.
But
Yeah.
definitely something that's going to be there to watch. And I think you also made a great point, Andrew. Like literally, we didn't even know about what happened to his son until his father retaliated.
Right.
That is where it becomes troubling, where now the death of unarmed African Americans is no longer news anymore.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
that's the thing that's scary. Because I think someone else brought up another case that they wanted to ask about Tyree Nichols, the Tyree Nichols case in Memphis. And I hadn't even heard about that. And it's just almost just like now, in order to get stories, you can no longer rely on the news. You have to go search it out yourself.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the case where the young man was beat to death by the Memphis police officers, right?
Yes, okay.
Whew.
Yeah,
Okay, I did hear that one of the officers got off today, got a not guilty by a jury verdict. And when it comes to that, there was a lot of people hitting, a lot of officers, punching and kicking and hitting Mr. Nichols. I think that comes down to which blows were the deadly ones
yes.
when it comes to a jury trial, and it's unfortunate, because majority of these officers were African American
Yeah,
officers,
yeah.
and this is an African American young male who lost his life that day. But I don't know much about Memphis laws and how he was able to get a not guilty. But if I was his attorney, I know I would have argued, that my blow didn't cause the my blow wasn't the one that caused the death. So that may have been an argument. I have to look more into
Now, of course, we're probably showing our age a little bit, but when
that.
that case, it made me think about Rodney King. And
Gotcha.
it seems like what's happening now with the news is it's no longer leads to outrage as much as it used to before. It's almost kind of become normalized. And almost we've gotten to a point now where we select which news that they're going to show. And
Hmm.
at times the news that pertains to the protection of our lives and our bodies, oftentimes it's not the news that's going to be covered of this day, as opposed to they'll go ahead and talk about someone trying to make a country the 51st state, which is ridiculous, or the Gulf of Mexico being renamed the Gulf of America, as opposed
Hmm.
to news stories that actually have an impact on people's lives. But we're not going to go there. Oops, I already did. But one of the things I oftentimes tell people, one of the things I love about our show, is we want to give an opportunity for you guys to speak to people. And I can have Mike, you can go first. Is during this journey, people experience ups and downs. I mean, it's ups and downs even after you pass the bar. It's ups and downs throughout the process. But like how you talked about how somebody just got up and left the bar exam test, I feel like throughout the lawyer journey, we lose so many promising black and brown promising attorneys because things get tough and they just say, I'm done. I quit. I can't
Yeah.
do it anymore.
Right.
And I know that there may be someone watching this right now who may be on the cusp of quitting. I know this is Wednesday. We don't have a Bible study on Wednesday, but for you to go ahead and give somebody out there who's thinking about quitting,
No,
who's thinking about to give some words
I
of encouragement.
I would definitely encourage people to find their balance. You definitely can't do this, 24/7 around the clock. I know we have a huge duty in impacting and saving people's lives, but you definitely have to put yourself first. You put your health first. Make sure you work out, you eat right. Make sure you take care of your body. Make sure you take care of your mind, because that's one of the key tools that you need as an attorney. But just doing the right thing as you progress in life, spending time with your family, taking vacations when you need to vacate, taking mental health days. I encourage all of that for us practicing attorneys, because this profession will pull you. It will. It will pull on your coattail, and I hear a lot of attorneys say they get burned out in the profession. That's why you have to find your balance. You have to, take time off. Right now we have about three murder cases that we're trying in about a 6 week time frame.
Wow.
But as soon as that is over, I'm going on a month and a half vacation to enjoy myself. And that's how I get my balance. And that's what I would definitely encourage people to do, to just find their balance and keep going. And that don't get discouraged. Have faith in the Lord and just keep pushing one day at a time.
I love it. Andrew, go ahead and close us out, fam. What's some words of encouragement you have out there for our young kings and queens pushing for the things?
Keep going, man. You just got to keep going. I mean, one foot after the other. Sooner or later, you'll be looking down and you'll see that checkered finish line. All right. I was studying for the bar. My best friend, Gerard Jacobs, died in prison. Okay. So you got to understand certain things gonna happen to ignite a fire in you that nobody can blow out. Right. But in order to get that, in order to earn that, you got to keep going. You got to keep striving. Do what makes you feel comfortable. Don't listen to anybody putting off their beliefs on you that you can't do it, that you shouldn't study for the bar and go to law school at the same time. You know how many people told me that? That didn't pass the bar the first time when they weren't in school. You see what I'm saying? Like people will put off um, um, their beliefs on you because they don't believe they can do it. But I'm telling you, things gonna get hard, and it's just a test. Like my colleague said, how bad do you want it? That's just the Lord asking you, how bad do you want it? I encourage you to stay, deep in the Lord. I encourage you to believe in yourself. Get rid of any dead weight. If you got an old girl, running you down through there, taking you on emotional roller coasters, or a man taking you, get rid of them.
Let it
They
go.
ain't going nowhere. They ain't going nowhere. They know you got the bar coming up, and after you pass, you're going to be big money. They ain't going nowhere, no matter what they say. So, get rid of that dead weight. Cling to the people that love you. Put in the extra work. You know, um, you know, don't overstudy for things that it ain't that much on the bar. For instance, the taxes wasn't that much on the bar. You don't want to be studying taxes as much as you studying criminal law, right? Like like work smarter, not work smarter and harder. Work smarter and harder. I say that. But don't quit, man, and you'll get there. Like I said, I'm not trying to be facetious at all. It ain't nothing special about me. I just know what hard work is. I'm all right when it comes to intellect, but I work a lot harder than I think. Okay. So, just, do the work. Don't be scared to ask for help. Join the study groups, get the different syllabi, look through those, and just keep your faith in God, man. That's pretty much all I got to say about that.
I mean, I don't know what else to say. But yo, thank you guys so much for joining us for making the case. Make sure you check out these two kings making a difference in the Dallas community, holding it down in Texas. Make sure you check them out and follow them on the Not Guilty Boys. Again, I want to thank you guys for joining us on the show. For you guys out there listening, continue to fight for your lawyer dreams. We're going to be back every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. You got a whole squad of people. Now they on the team too, praying for you, rooting for you, and waiting to help you take the next step in your journey. You were not alone. Reach out, get the help. We want to see you win. Peace and blessings. Talk to you guys later.
Thank you,
Peace.
man. Thank you.